Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar Unleash the Power of AI in Articulate Rise for Smarter eLearning. We are delighted to have Prasun with us today. He represents Stratbeans and Articulate in India, and as a certified Articulate part trainer, he brings a wealth of expertise with him. Today, he'll guide us all about the exciting advancements happening in AI within Articulate Rise. This is episode 2 in our running webinar series. Every Friday, you'll have the opportunity to learn something new from Prasun, who will be sharing fresh updates and with his ultimate tricks and tips on how to elevate your skills as content developers using articulate technology. Let's dive in directly into the future of e learning together. Thank you, Prasun, for joining us, and a big thanks to everyone for joining this webinar. Over to you, Prasun.
All right. Thanks a lot, Anuba. And good afternoon to all the participants. I think, Anuba, you have one slide, like looks like you projected. You want
Yes.
to talk about it?
Just to update you all, we have our two wonderful YouTube channels, Mastering Articulate and our Stratbeans YouTube channel. It will be great if you all can subscribe to our channels for the ultimate tricks and tips from the Articulate team and Prasun. And here is the scanner code available. You can just quickly scan and subscribe yourself with the quick updates. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Anuba. It's a good idea to maybe scan that code, and we'll again probably show that code again for people who may have missed or joined later. Okay, so this webinar series, as Anuba told, would be happening every Friday. But the basic question has to be there, what's in it for you? So two things will be there. One is that in every session, we'll bring in something different. While there'll be focus on some basic training on AI aspects of data rise, storyline, all those things. But I'll keep also sharing some tricks and techniques, which is also available on my channel. But that would be the value add in terms of the incentive for joining these webinars. So do encourage your team members to also join in. Uh, this is going to be about 30 minutes of webinar, wherein I would be covering four things for you. One is it's very, very important, to know this bigger picture, why at all generative AI, and as a content developer, what should be the right expectation. So we'll cover that. And then I'll also talk about, Articulate Rise today. In the next session, maybe we'll pick up storyline and the AI aspects of it. So we'll do that. And part 3 would be more like summarization before we open to a Q&A. Now, if this agenda looks good, let's start moving forward on it. What I will do so basically, the right mindset before you use the tool, before you use any device, it's good to know what's in it for. So in my previous webinar, which was probably the time when Artmate had still not released the product to some of the users, I had shared a couple of screenshots, which I thought I'll just again pick it up to set a right context. So if you go to the next slide, one thing we have to be aware of is the Gartner's hype cycle. Now, what it means for us is that if you see that nice little orange dot over here on the phase 1. So right now we all gonna see a little disillusionment phase, because as technology is being adapted, in a way of saying the honeymoon period is over, realities are setting in, though technology is increasing, but what to expect from AI has to be at the right level. Because if you think it's gonna do everything for you, that's super dangerous, because if it does everything, then what are we for? So good news is that till, let's say, a good period of time, that's not going to happen. So we all going to be relevant. So next slide that Anubha will open for me would be a slide where I just want your 20-second of attention, because if you understand this, then you understand the so-called operating system of AI, how to use it when you talk about Articulate or any such technologies. A lot of generative AI revolution is happening. So AI has to be not to be treated as the left-hand side image, which is AI as a boss or master. That happens when you kind of assume, you kind of go on the laziness side and think everything AI will do, for me. But neither it can do, neither it should do, both the things. So the right approach is AI as an assistant, for want of word, little medieval word, as a slave. So always you have to keep in mind that AI has to be instructed. You have to tune your expectation, and then it will do a good job for you, like a very good intern or a team member. So that's so much on the starter side. So before we jump into the main course, I thought it will just set the right taste of how to approach it. Now with this, I think I'll probably move on to the part two of this presentation, where articulate rise I'm going to talk about. If you see, Rise has been super popular for its simplicity. It may not have the kind of automation and programmatic capability which Soyline may have, but still it's a huge choice for people who want to quickly create a page, reasonable one, and you really want to assemble your things. So with that, I'll directly jump into showing you a couple of cool features of Rise. And to that end, I'll request Anupa to just allow me to share my screen. Thank you. All right. So this is how Rise looks like. While I'm talking about it, maybe on the chat you can mention, who all are Rise users. So we'll get some idea. And I'm assuming some of you may be knowing Rise. But the good news is, even if you don't know Rise, Rise is the easiest thing in the world. So even if you don't know it, you have not lost much. And this could be your start point, maybe. So I'll just double check my screen is visible, Anuba. You see this Rise screen over here? Can you just
Yes,
copy
yes,
that?
Prasun, it's visible.
Lovely. So let's get started. Uh, but maybe a little. Yesterday we all celebrated Children's Day, so I thought I'll take that analogy again to set up expectation. So the expectation is that I'm going to be, let's say if we were playing Lego, I'm going to be talking about the pieces, all these nice things on the left hand side you are seeing, right? Then you can make your own scooter, you can make your castle, you can do so many things, that's your ID area, that's your content development skill. The focus is how these blocks connect, what all you can do, the permutations that are possible. So do allow me in this presentation to take your scooter, maybe a pre-built course, I tweak a little bit and then I jump to the camera, do a few things, because my idea is to show the dynamics of these various blocks, kind of extending to that analogy. uh, See this tool as a canvas, and colors and brushes of different type. Now this is available, and it is available to a small kid who will probably create a drawing like this. In fact, my drawing kind of matches this one only still. Or if you are at a Van Gogh level, in terms of your design, probably you'll do this. So the canvas is going to be sincere to you, the brush is going to be sincere to you, the colors are all going to be working. That's our promise. But that is where you bring in your scale of ID and kind of assemble things. So what it means, why have I shown this? So we are not going to talk about ID principle or the best way to construct the courses, best way to put the right blocks. That's going to be your decision. But as a slave or as an assistant, what AI can do for you in Articulate is what we want to focus on. All right, so let's now jump in directly to Rise. Now, when you go and create a course, there's this button which says create new, and this AI feature is available on courses. It's not available on microlearning because microlearning have a very different intent. They are small byte modules. So when you start a course, so imagine let's take a story. Let's take a scenario, a general enough scenario which we all can relate with. So imagine we want to make a course on workplace safety and health, in, let's say, construction industry. Yeah, relevant. Some of you may be working on certain similar thing, a particular business problem or a learning problem in a given, department or a given industry segment. That is what you all may be doing. It could be an internal training, but let's just take a simple example, which can be understandable by all. So the way you do is that you start with AI. And once you do that, you will see that you will have these three areas availability. So you need to tell what is your course really all about. You need to give these prompts to the system. So I would say I would like to make a course like we agreed on. And again, being lazy, I'm just copying pasting, but it'll save time. So my course is on workplace safety and health OSH in construction. Now, the more the merrier, the more you tell to AI, it can do, kind of tune it to that thing. So would be your audience? So maybe my audience are construction workers and site supervisors. So let's use that. Well, and by the way, these questions are not forced on you as if these are like those optionals, but it's still very advisable that suppose you are on the journey of making a course and your course name and target audience and learning objectives are not in place, maybe it's a self-check thing. So at least if you put these information, uh, it will be as good. So one of the catchword I really like about AI when I think about using AI in my life is that AI is an amplifier. Is an amplifier. So if you put in 2 unit, it's like a multiplier. So it multiplies it by 5, it becomes 10. Now you put 20, it can multiply it by 5 and you get 100. So your inputs are important. What I'm leaving out for the next session is I'm not adding you have an option to add a reference material so that it will kind of look at that material and say, let me also include that material. But we'll do it in a different Friday. So with that, let's move ahead. Let's continue. Now, what you see here is that AI assistant has pulled and asked you, okay, what could be your topic? Would you want it to be essential workplace safety, mastering OSH? So imagine uh, you can still converse. So one is that you could choose. If you like something, you could kind of go for it. So let me just try and say key basic course on workplace safety. So let's see what are the other lesson topic I can choose. So basic is a very basic word. So maybe I'll choose introduction to the workplace safety in construction. So now what we have done, imagine what we have done right now is that we're going breathwise. We're just slowly going down like a plane slowly landing. The first thing is we're just saying, okay, what's going to be the topic? So we're going to work on that. So imagine I choose this one, introduction to workplace safety in construction. Then story moves ahead. And it's very logical. So once you've chosen your topic, lessons are formed, right? Now it has suggested a couple of lessons. There are these various topics about understanding the regulation, identifying workplaces, and within them there are these, subtopics that you see. Now the flexibility you have is that you may choose to do this. Uh, that you may say that, okay, add another lesson, or you may say remove a lesson, or you can say, you know what, change the focus a little bit, focus more on the legal aspects. So it will actually fine tune to that, or you could reorder. So let me do some kind of different thing. Let's just say in lesson 4, uh, remove the last bullet and add a question bullet. Let's see what happens. So it's kind of re-rendering this lesson structure, and see, in fact, a better name, question and scenarios, So that is where the amplification happens. I said question, and I was a little unsure when I was prompting, but that is where Articulate AI jumped in and suggested something which is more relevant. I can still go on and refine it. Believe me, I mean, you could do a lot of rearrangement, and that is where small tricks and techniques that we'll cover in the future Fridays. But let's go ahead because we have, I would say, a lot to cover. So I am happy with this outline, let's just say, and I insert this course outline. Lovely, nice animation, very happy and exciting animations. And now what you see is a course introduction. It says this course provide essential knowledge on OSH tailored for construction worker and supervisor side. And like what we do in most of the courses, we tell the intent, by the end of the course, participants gonna be learning about safety regulation, these things, PPE, all the personal protective equipments. And with that, your sections are also created over here. So you could now choose to add content. So let me just pick up and create a lesson over here. Now, the sooner you are in, there are various pathways through which you can access AI assistant. One is that you could click here. You also have this AI block through which you can go, or you could choose to go through the block library. These are various paths available. I will probably pick up AI block. And now let's understand. So it's like the plain analogy. So we are from deciding on the topic to lesson. Now we're going to generate within the lesson blocks. So blocks are the lingo of RISE. So basically, every lesson is nothing but set of some awesome blocks that RISE provides. Now, what it is saying here is that it's giving this extra support. It's saying it, you know what, you are creating this site, this particular page about understanding key safety regulations. Maybe you could create a block on legal responsibility of employer, worker rights and protection, you know, or OSHA guideline for construction. So I may choose one of it, or I may choose to suggest my own topic. Okay, so let's just say we can say that let's maybe pick up legal responsibilities of employer. Let's start with that. Now with that thing, it's saying, okay, what kind of block do you want? Do you want a statement, a list, an accordion? And now this is where uh, your internal Van Gogh should work. You should know as an instructional designer which block is most apt for you. Of course, there are certain standards you may follow, certain references, but let's say start with the paragraph. So it has created a section on employers' legal duties. I may choose to insert this block over here, and you see, wow, we have got some entry point. So something that is known as writer's block. I mean, there's always a blank page phenomena where a blank page stares at you and you stare back at the blank page, the ID block. This could also be supported and helped by, for example, I have this paragraph, right? So you'll say, Prasoon, now you have a paragraph. Now, what do I do? I mean, maybe it's just some kind of very dilute statement. So now this is where you have to become the master, and you have to really think. You may have done some pre-work, so you can insert those things as well. Or if you need more amplifications, you can still go ahead with edit AI, and you can say, maybe I want to make it longer. So when I did that, you see, it gave me a longer version, and there are, I guess, two different options to choose from. So you may be, wishing to probably use this one, and you may insert it below, or if you're very confident, you can also replace the selection. So that's a choice one could make. I'm feeling confident right now because I have no idea of this material. So I'll just replace the selection. So you have a larger, uh, a footprint of text. But again, the caution could be it may be a very good text, or it could be a diluted text, or sometimes with AI, you have hallucination, which means it may just create facts for you, which may not be relevant. And that is where, you have to go back to the amplification concept key. You have to now look at it. Some bit of work you have to do on your side in any of the AI tools. And then you can choose that, okay, fine, I'll probably break it down into small paragraphs. And, there are other things you can do. I'll just highlight them, not go really in a detail of that in this session. You may still go ahead and may not be satisfied. You may say, okay, you know what, employers are required to implement. It's two texts. So maybe I'll say, well, how about I convert this last one into more relieving bullet points. So you go down here, you could turn it into a bulleted list, for example. And let's just this time insert below just to compare with this text. So imagine you read this, kind of map with it, and you're happy, or maybe you want to make some correction, you can always make those changes. So I'm happy with this, so I probably remove this part. And then I can come here, and there are some small jazzy thing I can show you that you can make use of. One is that suppose you want that this text look good, but add a bold action word, action text before each bullet point. Let me just see if this works. I'm just trying it with you. Yeah, so yeah, good. So it kind of let me replace the selection. So you see, you suddenly have a little bold, some kind of action text, which sometimes people use to emphasize so that before people start reading, they can have some expectation. Okay, what is the direction it is going in? Is it modify, provide, enhance? And another side trick, it's probably just a fun trick. You could also go ahead and say, key convert all the, you know, uh, bold text into, say, blue color. And when I come here, of course, color won't show here, but let's just replace the selection. Yeah. So these are small interesting thing. These are those very small nuggets. They may not be of great use every time, but you never know. I mean, maybe color is in your mind right now. You've done your work. Now you want to make it a little more colorful. That is where it can also help in that dimensions. Now, this being done, and like I said, I wanted to just show you from one side of the tunnel. I started the course. Now let me go ahead and pick up a course, which is, imagine an existing course. You've already built it up to a certain level, and let's see, you're now moved ahead. What kind of support AI assistance gonna give you at that stage? So we're gonna look at that now. So let's go back. I'll go back to my main page, and I would also want to highlight, in case you don't know, another powerful thing, that Rise provides you a huge content template, like a start point, like a scaffold, like a head start, if you may, which you can start off with. So since my course was around construction, so maybe I'll pick up something here, and I'm kind of simulating the fact that if you have built up a course to a certain point, what kind of amplifications are possible. So we're going to look at that, something very exciting, all those things. Now, one thing that I'll start with is how do I, for example, one thing you could do is you come here and you may want to improve the writing style. you know let's say the content has been created, and still it's at a medium level of quality in terms of the way, uh, in terms of the writing involved. You could improve the writing. So I just run it once, just to give you a feel. So it has done some readjustments, and that could be of use to you. You may choose to insert it below, review it if you're happy with it. So it, again, pointing you back, it removes you from that, the writers or the ID block. You know the knowledge, you have the best craft in your mind, but you may need a little nudge, and that is where it can just give you the nudge. But you still own those pieces, you refine them, improve them. Um, you could make it shorter or longer. You can change the tone also. Let me just um, um, show you that. So you can make it more friendly. Imagine you have a course, at some point you want to make it friendly, or you don't want to look like a, so it has added, hey there, it's important for all our worker to wear safety equipment, and probably goes well. This lady smiling, and these hotspots over here, probably a more welcoming introduction you want to change it to. Again, you may replace it, and they may review it. You may so basically, final sign off is yours, but it does help you in terms of arranging it on various dimension, tone and length of the material. So that's one thing. Now let me go back, and I would go to this particular section. Um, let's say eliminate fire hazard. And if you see, there is this preventing a fire. Again, one could go here and just edit With AI, you could ask, uh, make it longer and talk about uh, seriousness of, preventing fire. Now I made typo, and that is where we don't need to worry because AI is so smart that of course it will be, you can still write in your typo filled language and still work. So I asked it to make it longer and talk about seriousness of preventing. So maybe to make it serious, the opening pitch has been around extremely destructive, deadly. Now you may choose to replace this block, or you can again go ahead and say, you know what, no, it's not kind of kicking in. So you are the master, you do the best you could and you can, and then you replace it if you have to, if you're satisfied. So this is one part where we have emphasized a lot on the kind of tweaks we can do. Now let's go to another very exciting part, which is how can you add more blocks? So when you talk about more blocks, AI assistant could be of help to you. And here I will show you something interesting about how can you include your own documents. So imagine the construction company we were talking about also has, um, so let's do it two ways. Let me first show you without a source content. So imagine somewhere you have to talk about the PPE aspect of how to take care of your helmet. So let's say I want a blog to be created on the topic of how to take care of your helmets. Remember, these are construction workers. So So now the assistant comes back to you and says, what do you want? I mean, you want me to create a paragraph, statement, list, accordion, what is the way you want it to be done? So imagine I say, how about you give me a list? And it is saying, okay, fine, I'll give you a list. These are the topics. You can again go ahead, add item, remove, change order, like you've seen. I'm not doing it again this time, but you have the same power available. So you could still negotiate with this, in a way of thinking with the AI and get to a right level. And then let's say I just use this outline for now. So again, it has elaborated further and says, do you want me to revise anything? And that is where your thinking had you want to suggest something, okay, maybe don't talk about that, this, you can do all that. At some stage, you may decide, okay, fine, I'm good with this, let me insert a block. So now this time you see, we have these nice blocks, list created over here. But you may look at it and say, no, I mean, I think one more point should be there. So how do you do that? Reminding the basics, each lesson is composed of blocks. So the boundary that you see are the block boundaries. So there is this list block, and then there are these different type of process blocks and accordions, which I'll just show you in a moment. The complete library of blocks is over here. The divider, block template, your interactive blocks also, which are very, very cool, accordions and the tabs and the label graphics. So all those things are available in Rise. So you may have an afterthought, okay, this is fine, but I wanted to, maybe two more points. So that is where you can still go ahead and edit with AI. It has the context. It'll bring that back the same screen and say, okay, add two more blocks. It's not the wisest thing to instruct, but let's say for the sake of demo. So it would also talk about avoiding excessive heat and use helmet accessories. So again, if you're happy, you'll just replace the block. And voila, you have all these six things available to you. So this was interesting. This was good. Now let's level it up. Let's level it up. Now this time I'm going to create the block, but same ask. Let's create something on sorry how to take care of your helmet, but with a twist. This time we're going to be using an external document. So for this demo, I had pulled this is L&T's open document. They have this series on helmet, and if you see it's some kind of a newsletter, a magazine, but there is one section which talks about how to take care of your helmet. Now let's just see with that kind of a prompt, is it picking something from that? Because that's the beauty. So if I can bring in my own context, because that's very important as a post developer, you cannot stay on the general things. You may have your own SOPs, your own documents. So let me just go ahead and choose this file for my desktop. It's a rather a big file, so it may take a few minutes to um, upload here. But the sooner it is done, what we're gonna compare together is I'll again generate the content, and then let me see if it has blended in from that document. Is it able to pull out something, you know? And that will be an interesting thing. Oh, so something has went wrong. So let me try one more time because I really want to show it to you guys. But if but if it doesn't happen this time, we'll move on, and I'll probably pull that thing in the next demo we do. Okay. All right. Yes, you're lucky this time. So save it. Save this. How to take care of your helmets. Now let's generate our blog. Again, we'll make a list. Add two more things. Just so that it's kind of equivalent in that sense. Use this outline. Let's see how does it elaborate it, and is there a. So let me just insert this once. Okay. So now let's compare and see. When you look at it, it was about heat, cleaning, but since we have added a document, does it bring in that flavor into it? So if you see, it talks about um, after a day's work, store it in clean, dry place. You know, let me see, avoid harsh chemicals. So yeah, talks about not using, because it talks about these cleaners. Don't use paints. Uh, check strap and buckles. I think that was anyway a common one. But inspect for damage. So this is, I think, pretty unique to it, that you have to the storage. Don't use it as a storage place. Let's see. Store your helmet. Sunlight, prevent it. So as you can see, and if you really spend time looking at it and comparing, you will see that whatever input document you bring in, your own document, imagine, it will also blend in those things. Yeah. And suppose you're still, let's say, not very satisfied. Remember, the document is again available as an asset. You can keep asking, you can make it more specific, you can bring in more keywords from your parent document, and it will resonate and make it better. So in this part, we saw that, how do we create some kind of a block, interesting block than just a paragraph, and how do we really marry it with the document you may have and start seeing more custom output. So with this part done, let's look at another favorite of mine, and it will be your favorite too. Why? Because it's going to save a lot of time. So for that demonstration, what I did was, let's go to the previous era before generative AI. Suppose you were using Rise, and if you were to create, imagine an accordion, um, in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a step back. I'll first show you how do I convert this into uh, a different kind of a block. Yeah. So remember this button we had pressed because we wanted to change something about this thing, but now we also have instant convert, which is super awesome. So I want find this is a good rendition, but maybe I would love to see a flashcard. Now, saving time. If you were doing it, you have to copy paste. So on one window, you'll keep this, copy paste, you'll create this thing. You don't have to do all that. So if you can see that, so much of time is saved. So it kind of does one-on-one mapping, regular cleaning routine. This is here, the details are over here. Imagine the amount of time you would save. And that is, in general, the promise of AI. You're gonna save your time for something more creative, more relevant, more higher level, more thinking time, maybe, so this is how you could convert, and you could convert it to different type. The supported blocks are these. You can convert it into a process, a tab, a list, a sortable statements. So much options are available from that point of view. Now we talk about something which is known as a magic text, and I'll give a business context of it. So imagine you had to create, let's say, an accordion with why is OSH important. So you may have done your own ID work, created your text. The old way was that you'll go here, you will maybe you plan to insert a block over here. You will go to an interactive block. You will look for a say. Let's look at something. Let's convert it into. It's not a process really. It's not a stepwise process, but just taking that liberty, the Lego block liberty that I'm just wanted to show you process along with this. So if I go and choose process, uh, I have to go here, then I have to edit this, copy this. Why is OS such important? Because that was the title, time passing by, then you put some description over here, some description, and then you go to the next step, come here, copy paste. Good old days, you know, life was a lot of copy paste life was there, and then you put this thing. But see, this in a certain retrospective way is wastage of time now because AI exists now for you. So this was your old method of doing it. That is where in Articulate Rise we have brought in for you a feature that we call as magic blocks, which are magic text import. So the idea, the philosophy is this: you may have some document in a certain structure, you may just paste it. It's good idea to follow the kind of a guideline so that you are your AI is not over interpreting, but still it is smart enough. So like I said, I'll take this why is OSH important, and I'll push it here. Pretty pretty much there. Now I'll go ahead and just generate the block for it. So what took you, imagine you were copying pasting, say 10 minutes, would probably happen in a minute. Oh, you know. So see, I have this whole thing done. I mean, you compare it. Why is it such important? Then next thing should be when I started legal responsibility and employee well-being and all that thing, and then kind of adding on to it and reminding you of other features still available. Imagine you want this thing to be elaborated. Legal responsibility probably is you want it to be little. I mean, this line is too thin. So I'll say step one and step two. Please elaborate more. Almost at levels of step three. So I don't know. I mean, let's trust the AI. Yeah, so you have more thicker text there. Yeah. So they're almost equal size in a certain way. But did you see? I mean, you could actually ask things which are, let's say, fairly complex. Of course, will not suggest to be because these are prompts, they have to be pretty intended operations. There are more verbs that you need to provide, the right nouns you need to provide. But if you're happy with this, you can simply replace, and see, this is what you would do. Suppose you had some member in your team, you would have maybe called that person up or wrote a mail. Can you just go ahead all the time going on mail, then this person will do, you'll come back, review. That thing is short circuited, and then you can, and all other magics are still available. You could do a lot of fun. One, since on a time check side, looks like the clock is ticking faster, I kind of indulge myself in a lot of nice features. So let me just go ramp up now. And to that end, let me try something here. I'll go ahead and edit this process block that was AI generated. And let me see if I can add a media, because another cool feature that everybody loves in and around is the right media. So let's just say that for this employee health being, I kind of take this and maybe I ask AI कि ठीक है, you know what, can you go ahead and maybe just see create an, oh wow. So if you're gonna see, if you're gonna take this statement and generate an image, it will generate something. But there's an interesting option we provide you where the job of creating a prompt would be outsourced to articulate assistant, AI assistant. So you generate an AI prompt, imagine. Now look at the verbiage. Create an image of a vibrant office showcasing happy employees. So this is much better for prompting, image prompting wise. And you may copy this because I'm not going to change this. I'm not going to replace the original text because remember what I'm going to do? I'm going to add a media now and generate it with AI. I think this is the coolest part that everybody loves. So I put this description over here, and I would just for the moment not use any style. There are orientations, square, portrait. I won't dwell deeper into it, but these are available. So if you may worry, okay, what kind of orientations would be there? So you could choose that. But let's go ahead and generate an image. Yeah, so yes, construction feel is there for sure. So in my next sessions that I'll do on Friday, one I'll focus on the power of image generation, a lot of interesting techniques. In fact, if you visit my channel on Master Articulate, I have shared, for people who are interested in the image editing using Articulate AI Assistant, there's some cool tools. So the next time you see those QR code, probably if you're interested, you can scan that. So again, you have options of images available. So you could choose one of it. You don't want this wellness because the text over here, you're not liking it. So I just choose this one, imagine. Well, come construction worker working on laptops in this intensity is a little odd. That is where when I do sessions, I'll talk about how to refine those prompts. But let's just say for paucity of time, I'll just insert this image. Okay. And this is inserted, and I'm happy with it. I'll probably close it now, and just wishing to see, wow, employee well-being. And this is a nice image over here. Wanted to go into detail of different type of tones, but I'll keep it for the next session. Let me just jump to the next important part, which is the knowledge check. Yeah, I mean, all right, we've shown all this fantastic content now without a test support. I mean, questioning is very important part, all your KY, all your knowledge checks and everything become essential. So let me go back with that focus. So I may ask AI assistant to now go ahead, please generate a knowledge check for me. And it has the whole context of your course. So the help is, these are these nudge words to your mind, like pivot words. So you say, yeah, noise management in construction, maybe I can choose that. Or you could choose your own topic. So if you know what you want to make the quiz on, you can do that. At one time, I was talking about helmets, so let's just stay with it. So importance of helmets in construction. So it will generate a question for you. Again, reminder, AI is a slave, not a master. So you still have to review it, but it'll do a good job of giving you something as a start point. But you can always fine tune. You can say, you know what, change the focus. Or you know what, add another answer. You can do all that. Generate another option which says, I mean, this is the best one I remember, none of the above. We all found this answer to be the correct answer in most of the MCQ we have done in our various tests that we have given. So to just add that. Yeah. Correct answer is E, okay? None of the above is not the correct answer. So yeah, so you could insert it. And the question is here, I won't do it again, but all the magic is available. You want to elaborate something, make it smaller. So many things are possible here. And you could go ahead, create as many questions you want, depending on how you design your course. So that is about the knowledge check part, the quiz part, where you can score people, check their knowledge. And towards the last side, towards the end of this session, and also your course, you would want to generate a lesson summary. So you could use this feature. Now you can choose to create a summary without customization, or you could customize your summaries. You can add a direction. But again, one could dwell deeper. I'll just stay with the simpler option and see how a summary is generated. So as you conclude your course, you may need some kind of a summarization of it, you know. And again, now use your whatever is your favorite ID technique to fine tune this, Garnier or whatever be your favorite way of doing it. You will kind of configure the summary accordingly, and that's how you will be able to kind of conclude. So quite ironically, we have also concluded this session now. With this, I kind of move to the summary part. In the summary, again, I want to go away from all the article rise talk. The idea is that as L&D managers, as content developer, maybe you are a leader in the team, you're trying to explore, how maybe you are already a Articulate user, or maybe you're not using Articulate. So what I'm going to say is not salesy, it is more advice. The idea is that if you're an existing Articulate user, you save a lot of time, and AI technologies are building up, so you can start building your arsenal, start training your team, at least get into it, because it's going to only improve from here. So missing out would be a big, I would say it will make you medieval, from modern to medieval, so stay with that. If you're exploring tool, uh, in a certain way of seeing, a lot of generative AI technologies are being borrowed, everybody's doing the similar thing. But with Articulate, we keep in mind that we don't bring something which takes away from the basic principle of supporting IDs in their work. So that has been the core principle. Even if you go to our community, that is the principle we have kept for so many years, and we want to stay with it. And thanks a lot. We'll take a few questions from here, and thanks for the patience with which you have seen. And if there have been anything I've been fast or slow, or anything you want me to elaborate more in the next Friday sessions, please bring it on. And over to you, Anuva, now.
Thank you, Prasun, for such an insightful session and taking the time out to walk us through the AI advancements happening in Articulate Rise. We are already running out of time, so let's quickly address one or two questions that we have already in the Q&A window. Like Rohit is asking, is it possible to convert a text into pictorial presentation?
So, so Rohit, the time when I showed that you take a text prompt and you are able to convert it to an image, uh, that is the capability. If you are talking about, uh, that is what AI assistant is providing you. You can create a visualization like what you do with other AI image generation tool. So those engines are pulled in. But you can always write us to, if there's anything specific you're asking, I will be lovely to know what you're looking at. But yeah, we have that capability.
We have another question, from where AI is generating this data?
I'm sorry. Can you say that again once again?
From where AI is generating this data?
So from where the AI is generating this data. So see, there is this concept of large language model, which is the revolution right now. So there may be two aspects to your question. One would be a curiosity question: how is this thing working? I think probably if that's the question, then the answer is that is where this whole LLM revolution is all about. It has got this whole database, trained database of intents, what people are asking. It's some kind of, I imagine the whole internet has been scraped in, and it has generated an intelligence of its own in terms of uh, assimilating that fact. Second direction, maybe the question which could be more practical question, maybe because that is one of the question we have been asked a lot, and we are able to satisfy. It could be, okay, is it that my data that is generated is going out? So no, uh, Artwit as a company, we can't rest to do those basic 101 issues. And so we have a strong data privacy policy, which is published also on our page, which talks about how we are ensuring that your data does not go out. But either ways, the magic of LLM is all what you see. And yes, the last part is your own context is very important, because internet may not know what's happening inside your company, and let it be that way. So you put your files and they're safe. We're not transporting it back to those to an unsafe zone. So it is all secure.
That's great. I think that's it. And everybody, if you have questions, you can definitely send in your queries to deepa@stratbeans.com. So once again, thank you, Prasun, and thank you everyone for joining us today. And we look forward to seeing you all next Friday. We'll be sharing the invite shortly next week.
Maybe
Thank
you can broadcast that slide towards your end. One is the group and maybe
you.
the email ID also.
Sure.
Deepa at Stratbeans, you can maybe type it in the chat box for people to.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah,
Uh,
I have typed it. Yes.
yeah,
So
and
you
that
can make
QR
it.
code thing we can open for a few seconds before we close the call, so
Sure.
that people can join those communities, and where
Definitely.
some of the videos we have made can be very useful. Especially the question about image generation. One of our friends asked, Rohit, I guess. Rohit, check out some of the techniques we have put on Master Articulate, the left QR code. We'll keep it on for next 30 seconds for people who want to join in can 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 record it. All right then.
Okay then, Prasun. Yeah, thank you. And thank you everyone for joining. See you all next Friday. Bye bye.